Well, pre-pandemic, 80% of key starting materials and APIs manufacturers, the raw materials, which are basically, used to make final drugs, were located outside of the US. This dependence was one of the key issues that came to light during the pandemic, which has been described as a national security risk by the US. The key question now is, has the US's dependence reduced? The US government, approximately 3 years since the pandemic began, doesn't think so. A report by the United States Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs earlier this year has indicated that as of 2021, majority of the FDA-approved API facilities were located outside of the US in India. And currently, 9 out of 10 injections which are used for critical acute care in the US rely on raw material from China and India. One of the key recommendations of the US government continues to be to invest in domestic manufacturing for critical generic drugs. And I quote, "The federal government should build upon its efforts to engage industry and academic partners through private-public partnerships that incentivize strategic onshoring and advanced domestic manufacturing technologies for critical generic drugs." But the steps to shore up domestic manufacturing until now have been piecemeal and inadequate, point out experts. For example, Flow, the Virginia-based CDMO, was set up in 2020 and awarded a 4-year, $354 million contract. But as of last year, the company was still to meet major deadlines. Indian companies supplying to the US say they haven't seen any disruption to their order books either. Reasons include complacency post-COVID-19 to disrupt deeply entrenched supply chains, to the cost advantage, which sometimes can have an over 50% difference in rates, especially in advanced APIs. In fact, some API and intermediate manufacturers have seen a benefit of around 20% due to the China +1 factor. However, while the progress from the US could be slow, this is a space to watch. The US believes one of the reasons for the drug shortage, which has risen 30% year-on-year in 2022, and is at a 5-year high, with basic pediatric flu and fever medications seeing supply shortages, is in part linked to the over-reliance on APIs. And the US is adamant to ease it. Indian companies expect on-ground disruption, if any, to be possibly visible in a year or two. Lastly, experts say the US government is likely to look at a multi-pronged approach to improve the supply chains. These steps could include government fixed contracts, increase disclosures, and provide the FDA more teeth, such as mandatory recall authorities for all drugs.